Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons long, and it was supposed to bring back a major Star Wars villain. Let's talk about it.
Fulfill your destiny. TheorySabers.com.
Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about how Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons long. Could you imagine 5 years of bricks and screws? I don't know. I don't think my channel would survive. I don't think I would survive.
I killed them all. They're dead. Every single one of them.
But anyways, we were supposed to get 5 seasons, which would have been 5 years. However, it was cut short. So we know that Andor had originally been conceived as a series meant to span 5 full years, 5 full seasons, but what we didn't realize was exactly how much storytelling potential fell by the wayside once creator Tony Gilroy and his creative team readjusted their approach. In a recent episode of the Script Apart podcasts, Gilroy's brother, writer Dan Gilroy, joined as a guest to talk about things Andor. Naturally, the conversation turned towards what Gilroy brothers would have done had their initial plans for a 5-year show actually panned out. According to Dan, this could have resulted in one of the biggest villainous cameos of any Star Wars production yet. What else would we have explored? Oh my god, where would we have gone? I mean, I can't imagine over 5 years we wouldn't have shown the Emperor at that point. I think we would have gotten closer to that world. I think we would have gone, we're really getting a good sense of opposition forces here, but let's go deeper into the power at the moment, the halls of power. I think we would have gone deeper into the halls of power and explored that. That would have been the natural way to go, I think, the progression of it. Oh, dude, so bringing in Palpatine, wonder what would have gone on over there. But, I don't think Palpatine would have condoned a lot of the things that... I'm not going to go there.
I can feel your anger.
Andor probably would have brought in Emperor Palpatine, but would that have been as effective? One of the most enjoyable thoughts experiments while watching Andor was imagining what other characters in the vast canon of the franchise were up to at the exact same moment. Jar Jar Binks, for instance, could have been prancing around somewhere on Coruscant during all those sequences involving Senator Mon Mothma. So I remember there was like a scene in Luthen Rail's shop that there was a Gungan's, or as George likes to say, a Gungan's skull, which I thought was pretty interesting. I don't think that would have been Jar Jar, but you never know. In canon, I believe it was the Aftermath novels, Jar Jar's demise was he was reduced to a clown, a jester, juggling on the street. That was his life. Pretty sad and pathetic, and I hope that they actually change that and give him a little bit of a better ending.
Gungan's not dying without a fight. We's the warriors.
Anyway, it's hilarious to imagine the esteemed cook and Jedi ally Dexter Jetster doing his thing in that 1950s diner from Attack of the Clones 2. That would have been sick if they just threw it in there. One character was name-dropped and alluded to more than any other unseen presence, Ian McDiarmid's Emperor Palpatine. That proved to be one of the most effective choices in the entire season, giving the authoritarian despot an added boost in mystique by simply showing us the reactions he provokes in other, more grounded figures. He was the one pulling the strings on the Death Star's energy project, the fascistic increase in security galaxy-wide following the rebel heist on Aldhani in Season 1, and the one ultimately responsible for the Gorman massacre. Many viewers had hoped an actual appearance by the big bad towards the later stages of the second season, especially when so much of the action on Coruscant was set in the very same Senate chamber where a certain green-colored Jedi, Yoda, and the newly unveiled Darth Sidious duked it out in a battle royale for the ages in Revenge of the Sith. But would an actual cameo in the flesh have undercut all of that careful bricklaying? I'm of two minds on this. On one hand, I appreciate the level of restraint to avoid the fan service pandering that has afflicted so many other Star Wars stories these days. On the other hand, can you imagine the level of scenery chewing McDiarmid could have done with a Tony Gilroy script and the steady direction of, well, literally any of the filmmakers involved in the show? This will always be a fascinating what-if scenario, but I, for one, am content with the version of Andor we received. Yeah, look, I would have loved that. I think with the level of writing that Andor Season 2 had, Season 1 had good writing too. Season 2 had good writing near the end. You know, the last, I'd say, 6 episodes, 7 episodes or so were, in my opinion, really, really enjoyable. They were really great. Everything before that, I felt was a bit of a dud and slow and boring, as you know. But to incorporate Palpatine, who really had this overall looming dark presence, like he was truly pulling the strings of everything that was going on, I think would have been a really nice touch. I think would have been really cool, and I would have loved to have seen it. Now, I say that without hesitation because I think that Tony Gilroy, don't listen to what the internet makes up about me and my thoughts on Andor. Listen to my videos and what I say directly about it. I enjoyed Andor. I thought it was a well-made show. I thought it was slow and boring as well. The final 6-7 episodes of season 2 I thought were really phenomenal, and I enjoyed that. Everything else you see on the internet are just clips and bullshit trying to just paint me a certain way. Forget about it. I'm telling you right here from my mouth. That being said, I still thought it was very boring in certain parts. Now, I do think that Tony Gilroy has the capacity and understanding, or at least the people around him, to influence him, maybe write himself, a well-thought-out scene for Palpatine to enter. If you were asking me, what I thought if Rian Johnson or, a Kathleen Kennedy-led whatever would bring Palpatine in, how would I feel about that? I would say, please don't do it, ever.
No! God, please, no!
I think they really got the tone down near the end of season 2 of Andor, and I think that they really maniacally had that looming presence. It felt very heavy near the end with Palpatine just looming over everything. His energy was just all over. And I feel like if they were to introduce Ian McDiarmid, I think they would do it really well. There wouldn't be lightsabers and the Force and all of that, but I think that they would really write his dialogue and character out so that he is as manipulative and of a bastard as we know him to be, with a cunning smile,
He could use the Force to influence the midi-chlorians to create life.
So, yeah, I mean, back in the day, I would have been really excited at the announcement of, a Boba Fett show, a Kenobi show. Oh my God. Is it? Now, you can't really fool me that many times. So I would have said no if you want to bring Palpatine in. But if it's Tony Gilroy, I do have confidence in the fact that him and whatever team he had there, I think they would have delivered something good for him. Keep the Force and the Jedi and all, that stuff out of his hands, because I don't truly trust anybody to do that except for probably George Lucas and maybe Jon Favreau. I would say Dave Filoni, but after The Acolyte, and if he had any involvement with that, or how he was giving Leslie Headland certain tips and stuff like that, I'm just like, dude, what happened? Like, how could you even allow that junk to happen?
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them!
But anyways, maybe I need to give him the benefit of the doubt and get over it, because he has brought us some good stuff and someone not good. I don't know. Anyways, I'm battling that in my mind, as you can tell. But yeah, look, I think that would have been pretty cool. However, what would they have done? I don't think it would have been anything that would have really retconned Palpatine's character or anything like that. But I do think it would have probably added to just how much of a maniac he is, and a bastard, and a cunning jerk he is. So yeah, I would have been for that. I think it would be cool. As for Dexter Jetster, the fact that they even thought of throwing that in there would be pretty awesome.
Obi-Wan!
Or having Jar Jar in there, I think would have been awesome as well. A way better ending than I forgot what book it was. I think it was Aftermath. What they threw in for his ending was just quite insulting and disrespectful, I feel like. And I don't think Ahmed Bester even really enjoys that, to be honest. But yeah, would have been cool to see him as well. Some prequel love would have been nice. That's my thoughts on that. Let me know, would you want to see a 5-season run of Andor, and would you want Palpatine to enter the scene at some point in some capacity? Or do you think they would have messed up his character, like they do with a lot of other characters that they bring back in Jango Keys? Have a great day. Let me know what you think. May the Force be with you. I can't wait for the next watch party. Darth Maul coming soon. Later.